In today's video, I'm going to tell you a story about a driver that is still a current driver on the market today, but could well be one of the most forgotten about golf clubs of quite a busy and hectic 2023 so far. You see, said driver topped the lists for tour victories last year. It won loads of awards, and like I said, it's still a current driver as we speak. It still goes toe-to-toe with the Taylormade Stealth 2, with the Ping G430, and even with the Callaway Paradym Triple Diamond. But I honestly think this brand's had a little bit of a nightmare when it comes to scheduling, because it's still so good. Let me continue the story. You see, this time of year in the golf industry is commonly known as silly season. And that's all for good reason, because you see, this is the time when PR agencies, when marketing agencies and the big golf brands all release their stories about the new products for the coming season, i.e. the Stealth 2 with forgiveness, the Paradym with shifting the game, and the Aerojet with I think that's what it was. And you see, for me, that's all good and well. I quite like it all. I quite like the stories behind them. I like the marketing. I like the idea that they're not telling you that they go 10, 15 yards further anymore, but they're talking marginal gains. Now, the brand that I'm talking about in today's video, you may have already guessed it. Guys, comment below if you can guess it. I've already showed you the face, but they have a different cycle of driver and iron releases, so they never really get released at the same time as silly season, so they never get all this hype, I suppose you could say. So when we all go for fittings in March, April and May, the first clubs that we look for, the first head covers that we reach for, are those clubs that we've seen time in, time out in silly season on YouTube, on TV ads and in magazines, such as the Taylormade Stealth 2, the Callaway Paradym, the Ping G430, the Cobra Aerojet, the Mizuno STZ. Now, this club has already had its silly season, but not really. You see, they get released towards the end of the season, which I've never really understood from this company, because it's a great product, it's a fantastic driver, but it's released at totally the wrong time. I mean, if you got one last year and tested it head to head, should I say, if you got fitted for one last year and tested it head to head against this year's products, you'll probably find it still stands up rather well. And that is something which I'm a massive believer on. Come on, can we get close? Stay there. Oh yeah. And it worries me that this driver will get kind of forgotten, because I know last year's one got forgotten and the time before that sort of got forgotten as well. I'll tell you what it is on the next tee. But I guess you could say it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, because this driver will have had all its furore in October. That ball is filthy. And then I suppose it will have sold more towards Christmas, which is great. And I think I've got a point here, because I'm sure Ping used to do the same thing, but then changed to be more in line with, well, the two big brands really, Taylormade and Callaway. So, should this company change when they release the drivers? Come on, this is for birdie. Hold that line, hold that line. Yes, please. Right, time to let the cat out the bag. Said driver is, quite obviously, the Titleist TSR range, in particular, for me, the Titleist TSR3. I really like this driver. The TSR2 is also an outstanding driver for forgiveness and, let's face it, numbers. And I'm certainly not speaking for everyone here when I say this is a forgotten driver. I just think the whole range sort of goes under the radar towards the summer, or especially during January, February, March, April, when silly season is in full flow. And especially in fitting centres up and down the country, I'd love to know the numbers of how many people end up with a Titleist driver maybe October, November, December, and then as soon as the big releases come out, when the YouTube videos come out, the magazine portraits come out and the TV ads come out, who's leaving with one of these, or who's leaving with a Taylormade Stealth 2, with a Ping G430, with a Callaway Paradym? Guys, a little bit later in this video, we're going to jump inside. I'm going to hit 3 shots with this, 3 with the Ping, 3 with the Taylormade, 3 with the Callaway. And let's see just what the big differences are. This one is fitted in my specs, the other drivers will be as well. I love the way this thing feels and sounds off the face. It's totally different to any other driver, and for me it really does still perform very well. Why isn't it in your bag, James? Why, if you say it's so good, isn't it in your bag? You raise a fantastic question, which I'm going to try to answer during the rest of this video. You see, I honestly think there's a big misconception about me that I change my clubs more often than I change my pants. Get that? I don't know. We'll not go into personal hygiene, but I very rarely change my clubs, especially my driver, once it's fitted and once I'm happy with it. I do a lot of testing, so this time of year I will test the Taylormade, the Ping, the Callaway, the Titleist, and I'll make sure that I'm using the best driver for me. But once it's in there, it's in there. And the thing is, the Titleist just comes out at a time of year, especially for me during testing, where if you're happy with what you've got, you wouldn't change it. Does that make sense? And another thing which I find really interesting about Titleist as a brand, and I very rarely talk about brands like this and give my honest opinion, is they don't really throw that much into the marketing element, do they? Like, yes, you can say JT, Spieth, Zalatoris, all going to be on big contracts. They're all full Titleist players. But then you look at brands such as Taylormade, who've got Tiger, DJ, Rory, all the kind of big names, they're going to be on big money as well, aren't they? Then Callaway are going down a slightly different route with Good Bob Does Sports, doing a fantastic job with that. So Titleists are almost not getting a lot of the eyeballs, especially on social media, that maybe they could. Right, we're in the rough. That's not sat great, actually. Can we get over that bunker? I'll just go and it's perfect. That's going to be short. That's going to be in the bunker. Oh no. Oh no. James, that is a disaster. That is a disaster. We don't have a lob wedge either. Nightmare. There, ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at what's known as a sucker flag, and now you are just looking at a plain sucker. I mean, I have been known as a bunker wizard, but this might well be rather difficult. Oh, James. Delightful. What a result. And you know what the funny thing is here? This is all just my opinion, and this video has stemmed from me just not hearing much about Titleist or the Titleist TSR Driver much in the last few months to say it's such a good driver. I'm sure Titleist might well have a plan, a strategy. To be honest, I would hope they have. I'm sure they have around that, and probably answer everything that I'm saying. But I just hope that people do take into account. Oh, it goes the other way. Oh, James. Straight after the birdie we throw that in. That's terrible. But I guess I just hope that people do look at it in fittings. I'm not saying the Titleist drivers are for everyone. I'm not saying they're the best of the bunch. I'm not saying that everyone should run out and buy one. But what I am saying, and this goes for every brand, it doesn't just go for Titleist. I guess this whole video is just an idea of me getting something to you guys about make sure you try everything, make sure you go and test the brands that maybe you don't like the look of, the brands that maybe you're not sure about the marketing strategy of, the brands that you've never had before, because that may well be the driver that doesn't get you an extra 20 or 30 yards but keeps you in play more often, helps you hit less of the bad shots and helps you play the best golf. Because if there's one thing I've learnt of being a PGA professional for 10 plus years now, it's make sure you don't discount anything, especially not anything that could get you down the fairway most of the time. That's an outrageous drive, by the way, for me. I hate this tee shot. It's going in the rough again. I don't know how that's found the rough. That's 3 drives in the rough in this video. I really don't know how, because that felt fantastic. Right guys, let's jump in the studio, let's test this Titleist TSR against some of the other bigger names, some of the fresher names, and let's see just how much difference there really is. Remember guys, I've been fitted for all of these drivers, so there shouldn't be a huge difference between any of them. So guys, I tested the Titleist TSR3 against 3 of the other bigger name drivers on the market at the moment, and I'll not show you all the ball flights because you don't need to see them all, but I hit 3 shots with each, as I mentioned. So I hit some pretty good shots with all these drivers. They're all very, very good performing drivers. They're all fitted in my specs. This is the Taylormade Stealth 2. Really enjoy the Stealth 2. It feels totally different to any other drivers on the market. Actually, for me, it looks like it comes out a little bit lower there, pitching around 280, rolling up to 300 yards. I then hit the Callaway Paradym Triple Diamond, and for me, this gives me outrageous numbers every time I test it. Look how straight that ball flight is as well. Randomly, this was the most consistent driver of the afternoon. You can see that running over 300 yards as well. Then moving into the Ping G430. The G430 for me, again, great driver, feels good, sounds good, way better than last year's G425. So looking at all the numbers here, you can see that ball speed's very, very similar. The TSR3 was probably the lowest ball speed of the lot, followed by the Ping G430, followed by randomly the Callaway Paradym, then the Stealth 2 did give me the most ball speed in this video. Spin rates all very consistent in the low 2000s, which is what you would expect for these drivers, and looking at the distances, again, all incredibly similar with just a few yards in it. 4 fantastic performing drivers for everybody in 2023. It's now up to you to find the one that suits you the most. So, I'm not going to lie guys, at the time of filming I have no idea how all that testing has gone, so I can't tell you exactly my thoughts on it, but I have obviously explained it in the voiceover. Right, everyone, I really hope this video has been helpful. If anything, I hope it's been thought-provoking, not just with Titleist but with other brands as well. The time of release of a golf club should have no real bearing on if it's going to suit your game, if it's going to help your game, if you should put it in the bag. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and apart from that, I'll see you all at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.